The city of Pittsburgh, 1992, clung to its industrial past with stubborn pride, though its steel mills were slowly rusting into memory, giving way to burgeoning healthcare and technology sectors. Its valleys and hills, carved by the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio rivers, were woven with iconic bridges and close-knit neighborhoods, humming with blue-collar ambition and quiet resilience. Fall draped the city in crimson and gold, painting trees clinging to steep hillsides, but by mid-October, a damp chill bit, hinting at the long, gray winter ahead, often punctuated by heavy snowfalls. It was within this landscape, steeped in hard-won beauty and unyielding spirit, that a shadow would fall, consuming a life and leaving an indelible scar on those who cherished it, altering a family and community forever. Sarah Jenkins, 27, was a creature of routine, a quality serving her well as a registered nurse at St. Francis Medical Center in Lawrenceville, a bustling neighborhood along the Allegheny River. Her modest, cozy two-bedroom apartment on Polish Hill offered city skyline views and smelled of old books and coffee. Sarah wasn't flashy. She preferred quiet comfort, a well-worn novel, or heartfelt conversation to crowded bars. Her crisp white, meticulously ironed uniform symbolized her unwavering dedication. She chose nursing for the profound satisfaction of caring for others, a calling instilled by her mother, Eleanor, who believed in selfless service. Her commitment and genuine warmth were evident in every patient interaction, cutting through the hospital's sterile environment. Every weekday, Sarah woke before dawn, the pre-VCR news droning. She'd sip coffee, check the weather, and mentally prepare for her demanding 3-minute 11 p.m. shift. Her boyfriend, Mark Sullivan, a kind-eyed mechanic from Point Breeze, understood her dedication. They'd been together 3 years, a steady, comfortable presence, planning a warm, attainable future. On off days, she'd drive her 1988 Honda Civic an hour east to Latrobe to visit her parents, Eleanor and Arthur, at the modest ranch where she grew up. These visits were her anchor, a tether to enduring values of family and home. The autumn of '92 was challenging at St. Francis. A flu bug strained hospital resources. Sarah took extra shifts. Known for quiet efficiency and calming presence in the ER, her colleagues and patients adored her. Yet, in weeks before that October night, a subtle, unsettling shift occurred. Sarah, usually composed, seemed more guarded, unease flickering in her serene eyes. She confided in Laura Jensen, a colleague. "There's this new orderly," Sarah whispered, "Kevin Miller. He's intense, his eyes linger. He finds reasons to be around, asks questions, tries to walk me to my car." Laura, protective, told her to back off. Sarah tried politely, then firmly, but Miller seemed oblivious, his persistence bordering on obsession. He even showed up late one evening outside her Polish Hill apartment, claiming he was just passing by, an unconvincing explanation given the winding streets. She mentioned it to Mark, who offered to confront Miller. Sarah, the peacemaker, begged him not to, fearing escalation. She just wanted him to leave her alone. Monday, October 19, 1992, overcast with a biting wind. Sarah finished her 3-minute 11 p.m. shift. Hospital was quiet. She clocked out, said goodbyes to Laura, and headed to the locker room. The last definitive sighting of Sarah Jenkins was 11:17 p.m., walking past the security desk, uniform bag slung, small purse clutched. The guard, busy, gave a perfunctory nod. She walked into the cool, fog-laden night, dense mist obscuring streetlights from the Monongahela River. She never made it home. Alarm bells rang the next morning. Mark, usually called by Sarah, grew concerned when her landline went to answering machine. His gut tightened. After multiple tries, heart pounding, he drove to her apartment. Her Civic wasn't there. Blinds drawn, porch light off. He knocked, then used his spare key. The apartment was eerily quiet, empty, undisturbed. Nothing suggested struggle or violence. This absence, this unsettling stillness, was terrifying. It suggested swift, silent removal. Mark, voice shaking, called Eleanor, then the Pittsburgh Police Department, initiating a chain of events that altered their lives forever. The initial investigation launched with urgency, but soon faced 1992-era limitations. PPD's Missing Persons Unit, led by Detective Raymond Ray Torres, processed Sarah's apartment, interviewed Mark, Eleanor, and Arthur, whose faces etched raw fear. They spoke with hospital staff. Kevin Miller, interviewed, nervously maintained he'd gone straight home after his 7 a.m. 3 p.m. shift, not seeing Sarah that day. His roommate Dave reluctantly corroborated his alibi, claiming Kevin's car was on the fritz. The alibi was weak, relying on a single witness, but without direct evidence it held. Lack of widespread surveillance, mobile phone tracking, and limited forensic science made the task monumental. Sarah's 1988 Honda Civic was found 2 days later in Bloomfield, a few blocks from St. Francis. Neat locked, no forced entry, keys gone. Inside, nothing seemed disturbed, no blood, no struggle. Forensics meticulously dusted for prints. They found Sarah's marks and one smudged print on the passenger door handle. It didn't match anyone known to Sarah and was too indistinct for a definitive match in the limited AFIS databases of the early 90s, but it was logged, a silent witness. The search intensified. Flyers with Sarah's smiling face appeared on every lamppost in Lawrenceville, Bloomfield, and Polish Hill. Volunteers, organized by Alina and Arthur, scoured parks, riverbanks, and decaying industrial lots, calling her name. Local news ran segments, but as days turned to weeks, the story receded from headlines, replaced by fresher crises. Public sympathy gave way to chilling silence, leaving Elena and Arthur, shattered by their only child's disappearance, isolated in grief. Arthur, a retired mill worker, dedicated every hour to searching, tracing leads, talking to anyone. Elena, a woman of deep faith, found her world hollowed out, her routine replaced by anxious, unanswered calls to Detective Torres, each a desperate plea for hope. Detective Torres, weary, felt the case's weight. He'd followed every lead, but Sarah Jenkins had vanished, swallowed by Pittsburgh's urban sprawl. Kevin Miller remained a person of interest, but his flimsy alibi held. No physical evidence directly tied him to Sarah's disappearance, only the lingering unease felt by Sarah and her friends. As years crawled by, the Sarah Jenkins case officially moved from active investigation to a cold case file, meticulously catalogued, dormant. A decade passed, Pittsburgh's autumn leaves still turned gold, but the landscape changed subtly. The internet, nascent in '92, was now integral to daily life. Cellular phones, once bulky, were commonplace. Technology advanced, and with it, law enforcement tools. In spring 2002, Detective Thomas Riley, a sharp member of the PPD's Cold Case Unit, found Sarah Jenkins' thick, yellowing file. Riley, known for obsessive detail and seeing connections others missed, remembered the case, the tragic headlines, the heartbroken parents. He began his review from scratch, poring over every report, transcript, and piece of evidence. He sought anomalies, overlooked details, the ghost in the machine. The smudged fingerprint on the Civic's passenger door handle, marked inconclusive in 1992, caught his eye. Then it was too faint for AFIS. Now, with advanced digital enhancement and an expanded AFIS, it was imperative. He reread Kevin Miller's original statement, the detail about his car being on the fritz that night, forcing him to borrow his roommate's vehicle, resonated. Why would an orderly working days need his car that specific night? It seemed an unnecessary, almost defensive detail, unless it explained false activities. Riley cross-referenced Kevin Miller. He was now in Cleveland, Ohio, with a minor rap sheet, public intoxication, bar fights, domestic disturbance. Nothing screamed murderer, but enough to paint a volatile picture. Riley recognized the pattern. Harassing women, sudden relocation after an incident, a flimsy alibi. It was circumstantial, but pointed a new direction. Working with Cleveland PD, Riley secured a warrant. Ostensibly, it was for a minor assault charge from years prior. This calculated move allowed him to obtain fresh fingerprints and a DNA sample from Miller without revealing his true intent. Samples went to the state lab. The wait was agonizing, then the call came. The fingerprint from Sarah's Honda Civic, taken 10 years prior, was a definitive match for Kevin Miller. Ridge patterns, once obscured, now glowed with undeniable clarity. It was the break they desperately sought. Armed with this damning evidence, Riley and a team traveled to Cleveland. Confronted with the irrefutable fingerprint evidence, Miller's facade crumbled. After hours of intense interrogation, suppressed guilt and fear burst forth. He confessed. The truth, when it emerged, was as dark and cold as the mine shaft where he'd left Sarah. He admitted to obsessive infatuation. He studied her routine, her vulnerabilities. On that foggy October night in 1992, he used his roommate's beat-up Ford Escort, waiting for Sarah near St. Francis. He approached her, feigning concern, offering a ride, claiming his car was broken. Sarah, perhaps feeling sympathy or caught off guard, agreed. He drove past her Civic, ignoring her protests, her alarm turning to terror. He drove her south out of the city's glow, towards a rugged, less populated area of the South Hills, past Carrick, to an abandoned coal mine shaft he knew well. There, amidst decaying timbers and damp earth, he assaulted and murdered her, silencing her. He then drove her Honda Civic back to Bloomfield, wiped it down, missing the passenger door handle, and left it, keys disposed of. He returned to his roommate's car, hidden in woods, and went home, weaving a flimsy tale. He believed the old mine shaft, a forgotten scar, would be her permanent, undiscovered grave. With Miller's confession, a massive recovery operation launched in the South Hills. The dormant mine shaft, choked with overgrowth, was difficult to access. Specialized teams with forensic anthropologists and geological surveys worked for days. Finally, 10 years and 6 months after she vanished, Sarah Jenkins' remains were recovered from the cold, dark depths. Fragments of her nurse's uniform, her worn purse, and her ID badge with her smiling face were found. Identification was swift. The news ripped through Pittsburgh. For Alina and Arthur Jenkins, it was the bitter end of a decade-long nightmare, replaced by a new agony. No joy in the discovery, only the melancholic release of knowing. They could finally bring their daughter home, lay her to rest. Mark Sullivan, now a successful garage owner, his youthful optimism replaced by gravitas, spoke to news crews, his eyes reflecting a decade of unresolved grief. He spoke of Sarah, of the future they never had, his voice heavy with a pain time had dulled but never erased. Kevin Miller was charged with Sarah Jenkins' premeditated murder. Fingerprint evidence and his chilling confession ensured swift conviction. He was sentenced to life without parole. The city breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the shadow remained. Sarah Jenkins became a cautionary tale, a grim reminder of darkness lurking beneath ordinary life and the relentless power of a family's love. Her story serves as a testament to the pursuit of justice, often a painstakingly slow journey, but one that eventually brings light to forgotten crimes.